3. Nope, that's a 3. 3, 2, 1. Go. Hello, my name is Adam, and I found that if you're a human, chances are that you're an introvert, an extrovert, or some blend of both, and you likely have questions. Well, I'm an extrovert myself, and I've scoured the internet, specifically Reddit, looking for questions that you may have, so that I can teach you how to be a human. So typically what I'm going to be doing here is taking your questions from Reddit, from the introvert thread, the extrovert thread, and a few others, and I'm going to try to answer your questions the best that I can. So I'm just going to be showing you some graphics of pictures I've taken from people's questions, and we're going to try to answer them for you. So let's just get to it. This first question is from the introvert thread, and they are from someone named Sangre Frio. Hope I'm saying this right. And they go on to say, do you ever feel like wanting to be social, but your introversion makes it impossible? I'm 32 this year, and I've noticed time and time again how every social event I partake in ends anticlimactically. Basically, I make an effort to talk to people, but the conversation is always dry. Nothing happens afterwards. We just forget about each other towards the end. If I don't initiate, then the party won't even know I existed. I tried going to bars, clubs, music festivals, underground raves, etc. It's the same thing, over and over. I don't know, but I reached a point where I simply lost interest in making friends. It's like everyone within my age group have already established a group of friends, and it will take a huge effort to break into their circle. Honestly, I'm exhausted and just want peace of mind. Okay, so first things first. I feel you. Again, I'm an extrovert, but a lot of people don't realize that we also have these struggles sometimes. Just because, you don't want to offend people, you want to say the right things. But something to remember that no matter what you're trying to do, first of all, socially, whether it's with one person or a group or anything in between, is it takes two. It takes two people to have a conversation. Unless you have a lot of voices in here like me, in which case you just kind of need one, and then people that sound slightly different, usually with a voice like this. But anyway, so here's what I would say, first of all. It's not solely up to you to carry a conversation, no matter what you identify as. Introvert, extrovert, some blend of both, whatever. Alien, life form, doesn't matter. It's not up to you to carry a conversation. If that person is if the person that you're talking to isn't reciprocating it, it may be because they don't have an interest in the conversation. It may be because they're really awkward like you and they're trying to get out of their comfort zone, but then when they initiate that conversation, it's just blah. So hey, if anything, maybe you're a little bit more extroverted than you thought, because you're at least trying to be outgoing. The other thing to remember is that not every conversation is going to be compatible for you, and you may just find people that just don't share the same interests, or maybe they just don't, maybe they're just kind of being there because it's a social obligation, or they're also trying to get out of their comfort zone. But really, at the end of the day, just don't put that weight on yourself. Now, when it comes to breaking into friend groups and stuff like that, that can be hard. And the harder thing really is to go at it alone. If you are trying to get into a comfort group, a friend group, well, I guess it could be a comfort group. You really want to get into it. Typically, you kind of want to have a friend that's already kind of have an in with them to try to make that happen. But don't force it, just because you're in your 30s doesn't mean that you're not going to be making friends, and that doesn't mean that just because you're struggling to make friends that you're the only one in the world that's having that problem. Chances are there are thousands of people, maybe millions of people just like you, who are not even really finding their voice until their mid to late 30s. So you're going to be okay, so I wouldn't sweat that too much. And as far as peace of mind is concerned, decide what peace of mind looks like to you. Does peace of mind look like having a bunch of friends and feeling like you broke into a friend group? Does peace of mind mean not having this anxiety in the first place to care if you're breaking into friend groups? And again, you may not be the type of person that needs to go to a big group event to make friends. Chances are you go to a board game night, or you go to your local game store, or if you just find your online clique that you happen to find someone may live nearby you. There's a lot of different ways to make friends. You don't have to go to parties, and usually those are the hardest place to make friends, especially if you're kind of awkward, because everybody's kind of either competing for attention or competing to hide in the corner to pet the dog. Alright, speaking of being awkward, this next question involves kind of, not wanting to hang out at all, but also wanting to. This one is posted by Hero Bruinyan. I don't know. Rejecting my friends' invitations make me feel guilty. It's not like they get sad if I'm not part of the hangout event, but I feel like I've rejected their invitations too many times, and they'll think I'm weird if I say no another time. I have also used too many excuses, like there's only so many times you can be sick, so if I said that another time, it'd obviously be a lie. Okay, so first things first, as an extrovert, I see this all the time when I'm trying to get my friends to do things. And more often than not, again, I know the excuses. I know that they're trying to spare my feelings, but I know they're tired or they've had a long day, or they'll say, oh, you know what, I'm busy. And then I find out they did this one thing for like a half an hour and then they've been free the rest of the evening. Sometimes it does upset me, but as I get to know them more, or if they've been my friend for a really long time, I understand that they are just socially exhausted, and the idea of having to leave their home, to not be in their pajamas, or to not be snuggled up on their couch watching their favorite TV show or reading a book, one trumps the other one every time. Do I sometimes get upset that a book trumps my friendship? Sure. But I understand. But you just have to draw those parameters. That way, the friendship is still good, right? Because some people just don't hang out and you find out you don't see them for 6 months, and it's because you stopped trying, or because in this case, I stopped trying. But to get back to your question, just to kind of let you know what it kind of looks like from the other side, is the best thing that you can do, and this really helped me as somebody who wants to hang out, as somebody who wants to connect, is tell them the truth. Don't lie about it, because it kind of sometimes what you may be inadvertently conveying is that you're making excuses because you really don't want to see them at all. It's about them. So if you're saying, oh, I'm just sick, it's like when you pretend to be sick so you don't got to go to work. And sometimes your boss is like, are they really sick? They've been sick like 8 times this month and they're running out of PTO. So for me, again, I can tell you this from the other side of things. It helps just to kind of know where you're at. I mean, I still get upset if like we've had plans in the making like 2 weeks and I'm just like looking forward to this thing, and then you bail last minute because you'd rather stay home and not do anything. Like that kind of hurts, because like we've been planning this for quite some time. So I would try, if you're going to try to commit to those things, to really try to commit. However, if like somebody just kind of calls you up and I'm like, oh hey, this Friday me and you we're gonna go out, or this Friday we're doing a movie night and you better be there. Like I understand if that can cause you some anxiety, and that you're like, oh shit, I have to like people. Like almost all my friends are introverts. I get it, to as much as I can get it, where you're like, oh, I don't feel like being a people today. I don't feel like talking to anybody. They've been saying peopling a lot, so that's kind of where I've been getting that. Just be honest. Just say the truth. Just say, hey, you know what? Like if they ask you, don't leave it as a maybe, because maybes also suck. Like you have to commit. Like either say, I don't know if I'm prepared to people this weekend. If you get a text from me, that means yes, I'm coming. Or you know what? I'm just gonna pass. I'm not quite ready. Can you give me some more time next time? Like it takes me a lot of energy to build up to go and do this. Or try to compromise and say, hey, if I come, will you stay near me? If it's somebody that you trust. And say, hey, could you really help me out here? Maybe, keep me, it's okay to ask for help and say, hey, could you help keep an eye on me? If I start to get a little anxious and I go to run away, don't let me, or please just follow me out. I've had friends that have confided that in me, and I know to kind of keep an eye on them. There are protectors like me who aren't extroverts, who still recognize not everybody's on the same level as they are as far as comfort. So if you let them know, they'll know to help you out. And there's nothing wrong with that. Now this next question comes from the other side of things. I actually found some questions on the extrovert side of Reddit. This question is from Sure, I'll Bite. And they say, extroverts, what excites you about meeting new people? As a pretty big introvert with a splash of extroversion, I find it challenging to seek out social interaction. However, I think I can change this mindset if I can find the incentive to actually go out and be social. So I'd like to ask, what excites you about social interactions and getting the opportunity to meet new people? Well, that's a great question. A fantastic question, even. So for me, as an extrovert, what excites me is, first of all, it's a longing for me. But I just want to be clear that, like, a lot of people seem to think that only extroverts want these things, but introverts also do. I mean, clearly this person is asking this question because they also, either because they want to understand and learn, or because they too have felt that at some point. For me, it's a constant longing. It's hard sometimes. But the thing that I would say is, what excites me is that I really love learning about people. And I think that if you look at it from an educational standpoint or an inquisitive standpoint, like if you genuinely show an interest in wanting to get to know somebody, which clearly you have some sort of interest because you asked this question, show genuine interest in people. That's what excites me, is I'm going to have an opportunity to meet a new personality that has new interests, or maybe have shared interests as me. I'm going to look at this as an opportunity to learn something. Mr. Rogers said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that everybody in the world knows something that you don't. Now, I don't mean that in like a paranoia way, like, oh, everybody knows something and you don't. but I mean it like everybody has an individual talent or skill or piece of knowledge that they can share with you and teach you. And I look at the world that way, and I think it's a lot of fun. I love to teach, but it's also because I love to learn. And when I start learning, I like to teach it. So maybe that can help. That's what helps me. But if you're looking for more incentives, another incentive can be just to look at it as a challenge. They say that life happens outside of your comfort zone. And I think that if you are challenging yourself, if you're a gamer, or if you like fitness, or if you like, having a checklist, look at one of those things as a challenge. Like, can I check this off my list today? Or can I level up my skills? I always think about leveling up since I like to play video games. So I'm like, all right, how can I level up my skills here? Because even I've been in situations where I don't know how to start the conversation because maybe I don't know enough about that person. But then that reminds me, I'm like, hey, I don't know enough about this person. I'm going to start asking some questions and see what I can come up with. So look at it as a way to level up. Look at it as a way to check something off of a list. Or just look at it as a way to step a little bit out of your comfort zone farther than you thought that you would. I believe in you. I know you can do it, and I hope that helps. Let me tell you something, friends. If you're having a bad day, I got just a story that'll make you feel a little bit better about yourself. It goes like this. I am stuck in a vending machine. Yeah, this is such a bummer.